My name is MARAULE. I was born Kuqumbu, and I actually grew up Utsolo, where my mother and father were working at the time. And then I went to a primary school, a Wonderland primary school. And then obviously I had to transition sort of primary school to a bit of middle school. I don't know how to describe it. Then I went to a DRC JSS, which is still Utsolo. And then I applied at Dalingyebo Senior Secondary School. This is where I attended my high school. Kunu. You'd know this is where Nelson Mandela was born. Anyway, yes, I studied at Dalingyebo Senior Secondary School. But you know, most when you're applying at the, back then, we used to have forms where you fill out you choose your stream. So I was with my mother, and it was early January, and then we're filling out the forms, choosing the different streams that I should take going forward, because this will determine where my career path is. So I remember while I was still filling out the forms, an educator at the Dalingyebo Secondary School stood at the door, and she said, you better be sure about the stream that you're choosing. If you feel like this is not for me, you have an opportunity to change now. So I looked at my mom and I said, Mama, I cannot do physics and maths. And those were my initial subjects, because I had already filled in the form, and I said, this is the stream, let's go hand in. But once the educator came in and stood at the door, he said, you better be sure this is what you want to do, because mid-year you don't want to be stressed out, you don't want to look back and say, this is not what I want anymore. So I looked at my mother and I said, Mom, I cannot do physics. You know I suck at maths. And I knew as well from junior or primary school, I sucked at maths. And in June, I think I got level 2. In December, I got level 3. So that was just pathetic. And I thought to myself, I cannot carry on with pure maths. And this is very different, because at junior, it's low. Yeah, it's not as hectic. But then in high school, no, I cannot do it. So that is how I ended up choosing maths literacy, geography, consumer studies, tourism, life orientation, English, and Xhosa. You know, when you're young, you have a dream of becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. And in my instance, I wanted to be a singer, a dancer, at one point an actress. I wanted to be somebody in the media, because I thought to myself, when you watch those shows, Usalima Twins, you watch Orel Goboza, you see these people that you envy, their lifestyles and all that stuff. So I thought to myself, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be on TV. This is still a junior primary, because I'm not a bubbly person, but I thought at that time, I can fit in. This is my passion. I want to be a scriptwriter, I want to be a journalist, anything in media. So I got to grade 11. Grade 11 is a grade where you're supposed to sort of forge your path. I mean, you start applying, you start seeing your results as I go at grade 11. So I thought to myself, grade 11, I actually did not want to be in the media. I actually want to be behind the scenes, on the ground. In this instance, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a social worker. Well, I was leaning towards being a social worker, because I could sort of see what was going on around me, and I felt like I am approachable in a sense where people can come talk to me, I can make a difference. But I got to grade 12. It shifted again, because I felt like my points, when you calculate your marks, it doesn't really meet the requirements, but yet again I was adamant that I wanted to be something in health sciences, basically. And I started applying for those particular courses. In January, well, I pretty much got the sense that I did not meet the requirements, because everything was rejection left, right, and center, and I did not get any responses. So I'm sitting there, January, it's time to go. Because naturally, you would, so other children are going to universities, I mean. So naturally, I felt like, okay, what's the plan? Am I stuck am I stuck here? What am I gonna do? It was sort of hammered that university is the way to go. Nobody explained to us about the colleges. There's a few Czech colleges as well. So I'm stressed, I'm depressed that I didn't get to go to university. I did not get a chance to pursue my social work or teacher or nurse career, and what is gonna happen to me now? So fortunately, my father had a friend who had a son who was studying at the time at SID College, which is in KZN. Again, given forms to fill out. I chose public administration. Did I choose it? I did not know anything about public admin, but I chose it because there was still space there. And I felt like, okay, I might as well do it. I'm here, so I might as well do it. Mid-year 2013, the applications opened again. My sister applied for me up in Nelson Mandela University and other universities as well. I was for this applying myself as a university, but she particularly got the form and then filled it on my behalf. And then later in the year, I got a response that I was accepted for public relations management. I did not understand it, but I was like, something about media here. Let's cycle back to my initial dream when I was growing up. Something about media. Okay, points, they do meet. I do meet the requirements, and although I will not be an actress or whatever, but there's something that's linked to media. So I chose public relations because of that. And then 2014, came here, started pursuing the public relations management. So I got here, I had little information about public relations management, but in the back of my mind, I thought to myself, it has something to do with media. So stick with that and just find out during your first lecture, what is this all about? And then I got to find out, oh, okay, it's much more than that. You can be anything, it's broad. It's marketing, it's public relations, a company spokesperson, stakeholder liaison, and everything else. Because I felt like, okay, I'm not going to be an actress, but at least I'm pursuing something that is mostly about interacting with people, marketing. I love planning events. Even now, that is still my passion. And I love having to plan, like a baby shower, like birthday, simple things. I'm passionate about that. Not really passionate, but I enjoy something that will make me sort of active, putting things together and seeing the final product. That is one of my biggest, I don't know, I feel like I've achieved something when I see the final product there. That is mostly it. I thought, oh, okay, besides being an actress, a singer, a dancer, I can be a marketing person, because public relations as well, it does involve writing articles, newsletters, your press release, and websites and graphic design, there's all that stuff. But I am leaning towards the marketing element within public relations. From the first year, to be quite honest, I hadn't decided that I was leaning towards marketing. I was just finding my feet, going where the road goes. I'll see where it lands me. And when I saw a class, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I'm going to fail. I'm not as bubbly as other kids. I hate public speaking, because in PR you have to be a spokesperson. Imagine a big company wants you to have a press release. All cameras are here. You have to write an article. You have to write all that. Oh my goodness, this is not for me. What was I thinking? I felt very uneasy about this whole thing. Why did I choose PR? I started asking myself, why did I choose it? Wasn't there another course that I met the requirements? What's going on? But then as we started learning more about it, and I remember in my first year, it was compulsory that you are grouped. You do not group yourself, because you do not know everybody here. You have to get to know everybody. So the lecturer groups you randomly, names out of a hat, and they put you into a group. Basically, this is the PR module, like public relations, the module itself, where you are required to, in a group of 5, plan an event for marks. This will determine if you move to the second year or what. Planning for marks, you're given not an entire year, but you're given sufficient time. Get together, brainstorm how are you going to go about planning. We have to work with an NGO, NPO, or no, not a company, but an NGO, an NPO. So you have to choose what type of NGO you want to work with, your goals, your objectives, your mission, your vision. Create basically a company, a PR company. Have a name, decide on the name, and then support why you want to name it that. So you are going to, at the end of this whole planning, you're going to have an event. You're going to book a venue, let's say the City Hall. You're going to invite people that are mostly working along the NGO. Let's say it's an HIV and AIDS initiative or something like that. You're going to invite youth, you're going to invite high school children. You're just going to invite everybody who want to have knowledge about this whole HIV campaign that you are doing. More like a campaign, and you put it together into an event. And then obviously your lecturers are going to be there to mark from the venue, how is it set up, from the way that you spoke, the presenting, the food on the table, the everything. But basically what the message was. Did you achieve what you were asked to achieve? Did you meet the requirements? Did you do A, B, and C to make sure this event comes together? And there's an element you have to raise money for that specific NGO. So if you're saying the target you want to raise 40,000 Rand, how are you going to go about raising that 40,000 Rand? What are you going to do? Put your ideas on the table. Of course, you meet your lecturers from time to time that advise, is this feasible? Is this realistic? Or because we're still children, basically. We're still young. We do not know how this thing works. Because I'm not from PE. I don't know where to go to knock, where to get funding and all that stuff. So you get to learn all about that in PR. That is when then I fell in love with the marketing side of it, which is the planning of events, the execution of the events and stuff like that. What do you need to do? Do you need water? How many waters you need? How many water bottles you need? I mean, how many, who's going to be your driver, who's going to transport A, B, and C, your pamphlets, your printing of brochures, your banners, everything that you need for the day. Final year, we were not attending classes on a daily basis as we were with second and first year. So what we had done was, in order for us to graduate now, to fully graduate BPR, get your diploma, you're required to do in-service training. This is just to apply the theory now, put it into work. So yes, so you are required to fund your own in-service training. Apply, draft up your CV, go out to companies, email or whatever. And then I found it challenging because, remember, I am not a very social person. So now in other instances, we have to go physically to agencies, ask for a job, plead with them that they're not required to pay you anything. You will work until this thing is fulfilled. You have to jot down your experiences. So I had to go knock agencies. My CV, this is my CV, this is what I'm needed to do, can you guys help me? And for the first 3-4 months, I didn't get any responses. Remember now, time is running out because I have to do this. By next year, my portfolio, by the end of the year basically, my portfolio would need to be handed in. I need to be marked, how did I do with my in-service training? So I found it very challenging to be going out and begging and getting rejected. And it just really affected my self-esteem because I'm like, oh my God, I studied for, this is how far I've come in my course. And this is the end. It can't be the end. I mean, I just need that one thing to get me across to just officially graduate and officially go out work. And I thought to myself, I do not know what to do. I started volunteering at the Unity of Africa. We would go to after school program where you talk to a grade 11s and 12s about basically life in varsity, basically the activity. It's more like a therapy session for them because they get to speak to you, we get to play games, you get to help with homework. So I started doing that. But it was not really part of my in-service training, but it was something to just do while I'm sitting. Remember, I'm not attending any classes, so I'm just sitting at home. There are very few assignments, and I thought to myself, instead of just sitting and waiting for a job to just land on my lap, I should go out and volunteer. And then I started a Unity of Africa, and then I went to Ikaya Projects. Ikaya Projects, it's here in Humot, I think. And it's basically, it was mostly about, it was touching a bit with public relations because they had a huge event that they did with June 16th. So I was involved with that. That really gave me a nudge or sort of encouragement to keep going basically, because as much as I was discouraged that I was not finding any work or opportunities, but I felt hopeful that okay, this is what I could pursue, this is what I could keep on doing because I'm not getting paid, I'm just doing this for experience basically. And it was a very fruitful experience, if I can say it like that. And in terms of the university preparing us for work, I think I will just speak for myself, my course in particular. They really tried their hardest to prepare us for a workplace environment. The workshops that they held at the graduates placement, student and graduate placement, which is here at South Campus, and they teach you how to draft a CV. They teach you how to conduct yourself in a work environment. If you face a challenge, what do you do? If you want to, if you feel like you do not have a room to grow, who can you speak to instead of gossiping and all that? Don't do all those things. What to wear, how to conduct yourself, in terms of to cover, what appropriate clothes. So I think in terms of that, we were essentially prepared for a workplace environment. And then eventually I was fortunate, still at the student and graduate placement, they were able to assist us because USITA came in to help fund students who wanted to do in-service training. So fortunately for me, I was placed at the North Campus at the Communication Stakeholder Liaison and Marketing department. What they do is plan events at Alapa University, graduations. So then I was fortunate, then I started my in-service training officially at the North Campus, where I worked for, remember I had done volunteering work before, so that counted a bit with the June 16 events that I was doing for the other project. Then I started, emerged sort of 2 months there and 6 months there, and then it came together and I gained experience at North Campus now, and I did complete successfully my in-service training, and then I graduated. And then I applied, there was a post that came out for a public relations intern at the pharmacy department, which is at South Campus. So I applied, and fortunately, I was called for interview. They were really impressed with me, and I started working there. This was in 2018. I was a PR and marketing intern, which was mostly just organizing departmental events, like open day, serve as a representative, open day, career expos, updating the social media and e-platforms, social media platforms, website, if there's anything that needs to be updated, they'll check with me, okay, update this, and yeah, I started doing mostly that stuff. Who wants to pursue PR, public relations management? I'd say go for it. I mean, for myself, I did touch on the self-esteem issues, being shy, thinking that this is only made for public people, but it's really not. You can be in your own shell and just continue doing what you love. You don't have to be an outgoing person. You don't have to sort of change the type of person you are just to fit with the people that you meet. Or in class you can have people who are bubbly, because generally at the varsity, let's be honest, you meet people from different walks of life. It's not just you and your few classmates in grade 12 or whatever. But I'm just saying, you just believe in yourself. Do not take yourself for granted. I mean, you know your goal. Work towards your goal, and PR is very fun. It is broad. As I explained, that there are many opportunities within PR. You do not have to specifically focus into social media. If you're not a social media person, go into something else, like being a communication officer. If you don't want to be that type of person who interacts with people on a daily basis, who writes articles, who has to answer queries every day, you have to go into marketing. You can go into marketing. APR caters to every personality. Do not let that the fact that you're this type of person limit you. You can work behind the scenes, you can interact with people, you can be a spokesperson. You don't have to be bubbly, you don't have to be at the center of everything. Sure, you're a PR person, you have to be able to organize stuff, you have to work with the deadlines, you have to be efficient and prioritizing, and you have to just be on all hands on deck. But it doesn't mean that if you're a quiet person, you have to change, live it up, be bubbly, fake sort of your persona.